The series begins at Myeong-il University in South Korea, where a first-year student named Yo-jun is very popular among girls. He is always surrounded by them and even has his own fan club. Despite being famous, he finds it difficult to make friends and spends most of his free time alone at home. On the other hand, Nam Soo-hyun is a hardworking third-year student who is known for his dedication to his studies and work. He is so committed to his work that he even considers a restroom to be a luxurious place where he can rest. Kim So-bin, another third-year student, is also a diligent student who spends most of her time studying. However, despite her hard work, her grades are not satisfactory, which frustrates her. One morning, Yo-jun brings 3 drinks for himself and his 2 friends, Han Jong-ho and Oh Chun-guk. Although they appear to be close, Jong-ho and Chun-guk only use him as their wallet. Before class begins, Yo-jun tries to wake up Soo-hyun, who is sleeping due to work exhaustion. However, he accidentally spills his drink, and Soo-hyun's pants become dirty. He quickly apologizes and tries to make amends, but Soo-hyun walks away without responding. On one occasion, So-bin appeared to be nervous when entering her department room and accidentally bumped into Yo-jun. Later, she met an assistant professor named Miss Seol and convinced her to help with her research alongside Professor Park. Unfortunately, Yo-jun took the position, so So-bin had to persuade him to give it up. Sometime later, a new student orientation was held, and Soo-hyun and So-bin served as senior advisors. Yo-jun also attended, and everyone seemed to enjoy the orientation party. At that time, So-bin often paid attention to Yo-jun while thinking about how to convince him to give up his position in Professor Park's research. During the party, Yo-jun was approached by his drunk friend, Go Sang-tae, who accused him of betraying him by approaching the girl Sang-tae likes. Yo-jun denied the accusation, but Sang-tae still punched him. So-bin, who witnessed the fight, intervened to protect Yo-jun. The fight ended after Soo-hyun separated them.
데리고 나가요.
After Yo-jun got injured in a fight, So-bin helped treat his wound and they became closer. She reveals her intentions to him, and he said he would consider it if they could become friends. The next day, Yo-jun asked So-bin to bungee jump with him, but she refused at first because of her fear of heights. However, he persuades her by offering a job in Park's research, and they finally free fall together.
절대 못해, 나 절대 안 해.
In college, Yo-jun tries to approach Soo-hyun, who acts differently from everyone he has met, but Soo-hyun remains cold towards him. After college, Soo-hyun lives alone with his younger brother, and he has to work hard to support his family and send his brother to school. One day, Yo-jun and Soo-hyun met in college, and he said something that made Yo-jun feel sad. Soon after, So-bin accidentally saw them together, and when Soo-hyun left, she pretended to be annoyed with Yo-jun for not giving up his position in Park's research. There, Yo-jun promised to hand over the work to So-bin that day if he forgot. They then met Seol to transfer Yo-jun's job to So-bin and headed home together in the rain. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun returned home soaked and found his younger brother, Gu-hyun, eating a simple meal. His family had gone bankrupt after their father's death when he was young, and he had been determined to support his family and protect his brother. The next day, So-bin and Gong Mi-ju were surprised to find their roommate, Wang Yong-ran, sleeping on the bedroom floor. During class, Yo-jun tried to say sorry to Soo-hyun and offered him a cup of coffee, but he didn't accept it and left. Later, their teacher Park gave them an assignment to work on a project in groups. At that time, Soo-hyun, Yo-jun, Jong-ho, Chun-guk, and Park Hae-ji were all put in the same group. When they found out that So-bin didn't have a group yet, Soo-hyun asked her to join their group because he wanted someone he could trust. When they all met to discuss the project, Jong-ho volunteered to be the group leader, but Soo-hyun suggested So-bin instead. She ended up getting the most votes and became the leader. After class, Yo-jun got a call from his mother, Cha Jong-ju, who asked him to come home to meet his uncle and aunt. During their conversation, it was clear that Jong-ju didn't like Yo-jun because he couldn't be as successful as his older brother, Yo-jun-won. There, he tried to talk to his mother, but she didn't seem to think anything he said was important. The following day, Soo-hyun and the others gathered to work on their group project, but Jong-ho, Chun-guk, and Hae-jin were late, so Soo-hyun, Yo-jun, and So-bin had to work on the assignment without them. Later, Jong-ho showed up drunk and started using hateful language towards Soo-hyun. Then, Soo-hyun told him to act more mature, which made him angry, and he pushed Yo-jun when he tried to intervene. Yo-jun suddenly remembered his past experiences at home and became frightened, while Soo-hyun was hit by Jong-ho before Yo-jun shouted and stopped the fight. Shortly after, So-bin treated Soo-hyun's wound, and she noticed that Yo-jun, who was usually friendly and smiley, seemed different and very sensitive after seeing the fight between Soo-hyun and Jung-ho. Meanwhile, Yo-jun was alone and reflecting on the previous incident when his older brother Jun-won came to take him home. So, Yo-jun appeared to hate his older brother, but he was forced to go back to his parents' house to meet his aunt and uncle. During the family gathering, his family seemed to get along well in front of his uncle and aunt, but after the meeting, Yo-jun was beaten by his father, Yo Myung-hoon, because of something he said during the gathering.
웃어? 너 아까도 니네 학교 좋다고 실실 웃어가면서 얘기했지. 건방진 놈.
At that time, Jong-ju was also upset with Yo-jun and expressed regret for giving birth to him. Shortly after, he left his parents' home with disappointment towards his father and mother. At that moment, Yo-jun was feeling very down and upset that he called Soo-hyun and said he wanted to end his life. Soo-hyun immediately contacted So-bin because he was worried about Yo-jun. Then, they found him drunk and crying because he had nobody to talk to about his problems.
왜 그래? 정신 차려봐,
Shortly after, Soo-hyun carried him with So-bin until he became unconscious. The next morning, Yo-jun realized that he was already at his house and that someone else had helped him. Then, he called So-bin to confirm what had happened, and they arranged to meet later. There, he thanked her for her help and invited her to the park in the afternoon to express his gratitude. At the park, So-bin told Yo-jun about her childhood crush, Hong Chan-gi. Then, he encouraged her to confess her feelings, but So-bin was too scared to do so. On the weekend, she asked Yo-jun to go shopping with her so she could buy new clothes and change her appearance to impress Chan-gi and make him fall in love with her. The following evening, So-bin went to Chan-gi's house and was shocked to find his ex-girlfriend there. Feeling uncomfortable, she quickly tried to leave but bumped into Chan-gi on the stairs. Despite her heartache, she made the decision to walk away from both of them. When they were young, Chan-gi and So-bin used to sit on a park swing and talk about their family problems. So-bin's parents had gotten a divorce, and she was torn between choosing to live with her mother or father. In an attempt to comfort her, Chan-gi gave her a beaded bracelet, and they have been close friends ever since. In the present, So-bin, disappointed with Chan-gi, met up with Yo-jun. At that time, Yo-jun was worried that she would distance herself from Chan-gi without realizing the hurt she was causing her friend. Feeling guilty, he suggested that So-bin pretend to date him in order to make Chan-gi jealous. Following this, So-bin started to pull away from Chan-gi. He confronted her and told her that Yo-jun had convinced her to confess her feelings for him on the day his girlfriend was visiting. Hearing that, So-bin was upset with Yo-jun for betraying her trust and immediately went to confront him. There, she decided to end their friendship and left him. But then, Yo-jun tried to seek advice from Soo-hyun to mend his relationship with So-bin. There, Soo-hyun advised him to come clean and be honest with So-bin about everything. Soon after, Yo-jun hurriedly made his way to the women's dormitory and upon arriving, he shouted So-bin's name so loudly that she came down to talk to him. He apologized for his disappointing behavior towards her and expressed his sincere feelings, confessing that he liked her. Though So-bin forgave him, she couldn't return his feelings. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun had been diligently searching for extra work to earn more money since Gu-hyun was going to take part in police selection, which required a lot of funds. Unfortunately, he neglected his health and ended up collapsing from exhaustion while working. Upon learning about his condition, Yo-jun quickly went to the hospital to meet him and even helped pay for his medical bills. This act of kindness made Soo-hyun feel indebted to Yo-jun, especially after he gave his watch to Gu-hyun as a gift. When Soo-hyun met Yo-jun again, he apologized for not being able to pay him back anytime soon. However, Yo-jun told him to forget about the debt and only wished for a warmer relationship between them. The following day, Yo-jun had to meet with Jun-won to obtain a sales file for his group's assignment. On campus, Chan-gi met Yo-jun to express his disapproval of Yo-jun's relationship with So-bin. However, he didn't pay much attention to Chan-gi and decided to leave. But the other students who witnessed their argument began talking about So-bin, the subject of their dispute. So-bin, who had experienced bullying and trauma as a child, felt scared knowing that she was now the subject of gossip among her peers. She was seen crying on the side of the road, feeling agitated and overwhelmed. Meanwhile, Yo-jun, who couldn't reach her, became worried and went to look for her. When Yo-jun found So-bin crying, she said that she regretted getting involved with him because it had caused her so many problems. She even went as far as saying that she shouldn't have known him. There, Yo-jun understood that having real friends can sometimes lead to complications and difficulties. One night, Yo-jun witnesses Soo-hyun getting fired from his job at the campus canteen due to some chaos he caused. Seeing him cry, Yo-jun realizes that not everyone has the same privileges as him, such as money and luxury. While Yo-jun craves love, for Soo-hyun, working hard to support his family is a true act of love. A few days later, Yo-jun decides to switch groups for a college assignment and leaves Soo-hyun and So-bin's group to join Jung-ho and his team. However, Yeojun still helps Soo-hyun by uncovering a collaboration between the canteen's head and someone who wants him gone. By spreading a video that proves the collaboration, the canteen's head gets fired, and he gets rehired. Meanwhile, Young-ran, who has had feelings for Soo-hyun for a long time, worries about him when she sees how exhausted he is from work. She thinks he is a great man because he is so responsible towards his family. At night, So-bin feels remorseful about what she said to Yeojun before, blaming him for the bullying she experienced after their relationship became public. She decides to make amends, and the next day, she goes to Yeojun and gives him a hyacinthus flower as a symbol of her apology. With this gesture, they reconcile and make up. During class, So-bin is put in a difficult position when Jung-ho and his friends demand her presentation materials, triggering her childhood trauma and causing her to feel uneasy. Luckily, Yeojun intervenes and stands up for her, deciding to leave Jung-ho's group in the process. Shortly after, Yeojun suggests that So-bin confront her childhood trauma by visiting the place where she was bullied in the past. Despite her initial doubts, she finds the courage to face her fears with Yeojun's support.
무서운가 봐.
Not long after, the group presentations take place, and Yeojun, Soo-hyun, and So-bin give a successful performance. Although Jung-ho tries to corner her with some tough questions, she answers them with confidence and earns a good grade from Park. Meanwhile, Jung-ho is disappointed when Park does not value his contribution. With their success, Yeojun, Soo-hyun, and So-bin become closer, and she suggests that they celebrate with a simple party. Unfortunately, Soo-hyun has to work and is unable to join them. During his work in the canteen, Mi-ju watches Soo-hyun from a distance and falls in love with him. On the other hand, Yeojun and So-bin spend time together drinking beer in the park one night, and So-bin gets drunk. In the middle of their conversation, she asks Yeojun about his feelings for her, and he admits that he would be sad if her smile disappeared. At that time, the drunk So-bin acts sweetly towards Yeojun, but he tries to stop her from doing so, afraid of hurting her feelings. Yeojun confesses that if he likes someone, nothing can stop him. So-bin kisses Yeojun, and he likes her even more. The next day, So-bin is embarrassed to see Yeojun after remembering what happened the night before. During the spring festival, So-bin and Yeojun meet again, and at first, she tries to act normally and hide her embarrassment, but she eventually confesses her feelings for him. She was scared that her love would be one-sided, so she acted like she didn't like him. But Yeojun hugged her tightly after hearing her confession because he had the same feelings for her, and they officially started dating. Since Soo-hyun's birthday was coming up, So-bin and their friends decided to surprise him with a celebration. After finishing work, Yeojun asked him to come to So-bin's dormitory, where everyone was waiting for him. There, everyone welcomed Soo-hyun with open arms and celebrated his special day. Mi-ju was happy to be with the man she liked.
생일 축하합니다. 하나, 둘, 셋.
Then, they played a game of honesty bottles, which led to Yeojun and So-bin confessing their love for each other. Soon after, Chongi confessed his feelings to So-bin, but she turned him down and apologized for liking someone else. At that moment, he was sad and wished he had realized his feelings for her earlier. Later, So-bin and Yeojun helped Sol at his shop when Jung-ho and his friends showed up. They took her by force to their tavern and accused her of being Yeojun's girlfriend. Then, they started saying negative things to her, which upset her. Not long after, Yeojun found out that Jung-ho and his friends were harassing So-bin, so he came to protect her. He knew that they were only doing it for money, so he threw some money in front of them. However, Chun-gu didn't accept it and hit Yeojun, but he got up again and offered to give more money.
이제 다 10만 원씩 줄게. 그만해.
He asked So-bin to leave with him, and they went away. Later, Soo-hyun found out about the fight and beat Chun-gu up. Shortly after, Yeojun opened up to So-bin and showed her his true self. He said that he had been pretending to be happy in front of others, but it was all fake, and it made him suffer. Hearing that, So-bin was speechless as he kissed her. The next day, So-bin heard that Yeojun was sick and went to see him with medicine. Then, he felt better when he saw her. Meanwhile, Mi-ju finally confessed her love to Soo-hyun, but he didn't feel the same way. He rejected her, which broke her heart. Elsewhere, Young-ran and Soo-hyun were spending time together at the park. During their conversation, she advised him to express his feelings if he likes someone. Then, he responded that having a romantic relationship would be difficult for him because of his busy work schedule. However, he revealed that he wanted to spend time with Young-ran someday. Hearing that, she was touched by his words, but at the same time, she also thought about how Mi-ju would feel since Soo-hyun had previously rejected her. One day, Soo-hyun received a call from his younger brother, informing him that their mother was seriously ill and needed an urgent surgery. Soo-hyun was faced with a tough decision because the operation was costly, so he made the difficult choice to quit his studies and work instead. Just then, Gu-hyun came to meet Soo-hyun and was shocked to find out that he was living in a warehouse. There, Gu-hyun felt ashamed of himself because he had only been studying while Soo-hyun was working hard to support his family. After Gu-hyun left, Yo-jun came to meet Soo-hyun and ended up helping his mother with the surgery costs. At that moment, he was immensely grateful to Yo-jun for his kindness. For Soo-hyun, it was a difficult time, but he was willing to do whatever it takes to support his family, even if it meant sacrificing his education. Soo-hyun drifted off to sleep by the river and had a dream about his father who had passed away a long time ago. In his dream, Soo-hyun apologized to his father because he felt he couldn't protect his mother and sister, and he couldn't even provide for his family properly. Currently, Soo-hyun misses his father figure terribly. A few days later, Yo-jun had a conversation with Chun-guk regarding the incident on the previous festival night. There, he reminded Chun-guk to be careful and not bother Soo-hyun and So-bin anymore. If Chun-guk continued to cause trouble, he threatened to take action against him. One night, while So-bin and Yo-jun were on a date, he found Soo-hyun's notebook and accidentally read a note that revealed Soo-hyun had nowhere to live after his work period ended. Then, he immediately rushed to meet Soo-hyun and apologized to So-bin for leaving her abruptly. Later, Yo-jun offered Soo-hyun to live together, but he reluctantly accepted the offer. One day while eating, he realized that the food they were eating was expensive and asked Yo-jun not to buy it again. Yo-jun just chuckled at his complaints. Meanwhile, Professor Song and Park invited their students to go on a vacation together. There, Yo-jun and his friends had a great time, but Yo-jun couldn't help but think about his past. He remembered how his friend Jun-woon sacrificed his own freedom to protect him from his controlling parents. After the vacation, Yo-jun confronted Jun-woon and expressed his anger towards him for allowing him to hate Jun-woon. This confrontation eventually helped them to repair their strained relationship. The following day, while So-bin was walking alone on the campus grounds, Chun-guk approached her and asked for help. Then, he lured her to the club room, where he recorded her without her consent and broadcasted the video with the sexual harassment tagline. Soon after, Yo-jun found out about it and rushed to the club room to confront Chun-guk, but he was unable to follow through with his plan to punch Chun-guk due to his past trauma. Instead, Chun-guk took advantage of the situation and beat up Yo-jun. Fortunately, Young-ran arrived and saved him, while the police arrested Chun-guk. Later, while in the park with Yo-jun, So-bin felt guilty for falling into Chun-guk's trap, but he comforted her by saying that it was not her fault, and he also did not expect Chun-guk, whom he had known for years, to do something so despicable. In the meantime, Myung-hoon, upon discovering Yo-jun's viral video, became very angry and ordered his men to take Yo-jun back home. When he met Myung-hoon, he was reminded of his traumatic past and remained silent despite the threat of physical abuse from his father. So, Ju-won, who learned about Yo-jun's return to his parents' house from So-bin, quickly went to save his little brother. When Yo-jun was about to be beaten by Myung-hoon, Yoon-won intervened and took him away, while Jun-won confronted Myung-hoon and warned him not to meddle in Yo-jun's life again.
제발 좀 그만하라고!
Following the incident, Yo-jun and Jun-won confided in each other about their feelings. During this time, he struggled with the memory of young Yo-jun fainting after being abused by Myung-hoon, which made him even more determined to protect his younger brother. In addition to Yo-jun, Jong-ju also suffered physical violence from Myung-hoon. Sometime later, the news about the violent acts committed by Myung-hoon, a CEO of a well-known company, had spread to the media, causing a lot of commotion. He was feeling very frustrated because all of his subordinates left him and Jong-ju had run away with all of his possessions. In a drunken state, Myung-hoon went to Yo-jun's house, and when he was about to hit him, Yo-jun stopped him and told him how scared he was because Myung-hoon used to beat him often. Upon hearing this, Myung-hoon fell silent for a moment and realized the gravity of his actions. He then met Jun-won and convinced him to form a harmonious family bond, which eventually led to Yo-jun and Jun-won living their lives in peace. However, Myung-hoon was later arrested by the police for alleged domestic violence. On the other hand, Young-ran and Chon-gi gave up their fight for love and decided to let their loved ones find happiness elsewhere. They supported and encouraged each other, helping to heal each other's heartache. Meanwhile, So-bin and Yo-jun's relationship grew stronger as they opened up and shared more about themselves with each other. On the other hand, Chun-guk, who realized his mistake, felt the need to apologize to everyone he had ever hurt, including So-bin. Park returned to giving group assignments, and Yo-jun, along with 5 members of his former study group, worked together on a project and became close friends. They put together a fantastic presentation that even impressed the lecturer. As the series came to an end, Yeojun ran into Sobin and Soo-hyun in college, and they were all happy and living life to the fullest after overcoming their challenges. The moral lesson we can learn from this series is that showing sincerity and offering love, help, and protection is a great way to help others survive through tough times.